with your hosts, Andrew Romanella.
Regular people should be in the Olympics so you can see how actually hard what some of these people are doing are. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com and Dingo TV channel 217. I am your host, Andrew Romanella, and I got you for the next 30 minutes and change. We remind you to get us on all the social medias, The Rome Show 1, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is that you want to follow us on, get us at that. Miss any action on the show, the Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast. It is hump day. It's September 4th. School is back in session, and we are 1 day away from the National Football League kicking off, as we've discussed. Starting this season for football, we have Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday as an option for the people. So a large slate headed your way. Today, we're going to get you kicked off, pun intended, with the NFC West and the AFC West in terms of my predictions and the banana favorites for the year in terms of division titles. We asked a question yesterday when Rocky was on air with us. That question was, what is important when it comes to being named the MVP or most valuable player? Do you have to win in terms of making the postseason? Does your team have to be good enough and relevant enough for you to be considered most valuable player? ESPN did a simulation on the divisions, which I'd like to get to as well. Plus, a lot's happening in Major League Baseball. I've been watching Hard Knocks, and we have our daily bananas. So needless to say, there are a multitude of things to get to on this Wednesday, and we want to do as much as we can in the next 30 minutes or so. So strap in, because we're going around the world all day, but we are going to start in the National Football League with the NFC West and the AFC West. All right, here's the deal. All right, I'm starting with these two divisions because I believe arguably these are the two easiest divisions in football this year to predict. Okay. Now, I say all that, but then I really want to preface it with this. Okay. I am not somebody that's going to come on here and believe that anything that I say could even be remotely close to what you should put your money on or what you think should happen. What I'm trying to do, and my brother wrote it on his little picture in the bottom right-hand corner when he came on the show Tuesday. He wrote essentially the cooler guys talk show. You know, the guy at the water cooler sports talks guy. I told you this when I gave you my fantasy picks. I am the regular person here in this moment, but I do have some feelings on these as well as what some of the betting sites told me as well. But I digress. Okay. AFC West, NFC West. Let's start in the NFC. If you were wondering the teams in that division, we have the Seahawks, the Rams, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. The Chiefs, the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Raiders make up the AFC West. So those are the 8 teams we will be discussing today. I'm going to take the 49ers, no shocker, in the NFC West, with Brock Purdy going into his 3rd year with the 49ers as a legitimate quarterback that can take your team to a championship. Okay, I think winning a championship, there are a lot of factors involved, but I think great quarterbacks can at least take their team to a championship. There are multitudes of great quarterbacks that have gone on to a championship that have never won a championship, but you say to yourself, that's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, great quarterbacks that got their team there, that were a real reason as to why their team were that good, but could not win the Super Bowl. And like we've talked about in the past, this is a team sport. 11 dudes on one side of the ball, 22 starters combined on offense and defense in football for one team. That doesn't include any people coming in for specialty on third down, anybody mixing in and out to special cover somebody or to go from a 3-4 to a 4-3 or a nickel or a zone, whatever the case is. None of that. Just the straight up starting offense 11, starting defense 11. It is a team sport. So oftentimes you're going to have quarterbacks that are great enough to get you to championships, but may not be revered because of their lack of winning. I think Brock Purdy's in that category right now. He's going to be good enough to get you to a championship. And yes, do I believe that talent needs to be around him? Sure. But we're not having the discussion of whether or not he can make his team better. We're having a discussion of whether or not he's going to be the reason his team's not good enough, right? And I think that's not going to be the case. You have legitimate weapons on this team. They just re-signed Ayuk to couple with McCaffrey, to couple with Deebo Samuel, to couple with George Kittle. It's really hard to deny the fact that this team has talent. And it's really hard for me to believe that any of the Cardinals, Seahawks, or Rams, two of which kind of have quarterback questions in the Seahawks and Cardinals, would be able to come close enough to beating the 49ers over the course of 17 games when the 49ers, even on a semi-decent season, are probably better than those three teams. I do believe the Rams are going to have a better season. I'm picking the Rams to be the second place finisher in the NFC West come January of 2025. I think Matthew Stafford, obviously, if healthy the entire year, can be a gigantic factor for this team. He's already proven he can win them a Super Bowl when he came over from the Detroit Lions. It's actually the Stafford Bowl this weekend. If you think about it, the Rams are playing the Lions also, by the way. And I think people might forget this. I definitely forget it sometimes, no doubt in my mind. The Rams had the third best rusher in terms of yards in the league last year in terms of Kyren Williams with 1,144 rushing yards. That coupled with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, that could be a really, really good offense if the offensive line can protect Stafford, who's not necessarily a mobile quarterback. What will the defense be? We'll find out, right? We'll find out. But I do believe they have the offense, enough weapons, and a good enough quarterback to be in second place in that division. I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals as my third place finisher over the Seattle Seahawks here. Seahawks new coach, Geno Smith's their quarterback. If I had to take one of the two quarterbacks, Kyler Murray or Geno Smith to believe in, I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. I've always much more been on the Kyler Murray bandwagon. Some okay weapons there for the Arizona Cardinals. But I don't necessarily know how good that offense is going to be. They drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. to couple with Kyler Murray. I think that will help. We did talk about the tight end on this team, Trey McBride, as being somebody that could be a real possibility as a one fantasy option for you out there. Made him a top 3 tight end option this year for me in terms of drafting in fantasy, but B, for a real option for the Cardinals. And then that brings you to the Seahawks, who would be the fourth place finisher. So I'm taking the Niners, the Rams, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. If you're wondering what the sites have to say, I went to the, what's the name of this one? Let me double check that for you right now. The FanDuel Banana Book. And we have the Niners at minus 190 to win this division. The Rams at plus 330. The Cardinals at plus 700. And the Seahawks at plus 1,300. So those are your banana odds for the NFC West. Let's shift our thoughts here to the AFC West. Okay. And by the way, if I was to take a team, not the Rams, not the 49ers, I'm taking the Rams in this division as the team to potentially take the division. If I'm putting my bananas down, okay, if I'm putting my bananas down and I'm not allowed to take the favorite in the division, the Rams would be my next choice. For the AFC West, I'm going to take the Chiefs. Again, like I told you at the beginning of this segment, okay, this is going to be the easiest two divisions to quote unquote predict for the 2024 season in the National Football League. I don't think what I'm saying is rocket science. I don't think I'm changing the game with these thoughts. But I do think at some point it could come to an end. You know, at some point the Chiefs' run fizzles down. I don't know if it's as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, but my point being is it's not out of the realm of possibility to pick somebody else. I do think the betting odds for the Chiefs in this season are a little bit less than they have been in years past, but I just don't think anybody in terms of the Chargers, the Raiders, or the Broncos are even close to how good or talented the Chiefs are. And oh, by the way, how good the quarterback is for the Chiefs and the coaching staff and the tight end, which have proven to be very successful. So I'm going to take the Chiefs here winning that division. And again, it's the same feeling as I have with the Niners. The Chiefs in their mediocre year, if let's just choose it as a mediocre year, can still go on and win the Super Bowl like they did last year. So if that is the floor for the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going to take them 10 out of 10 times until they prove to me that that's not who they are. It feels much like the New England Patriots of the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady era. I mean, it really does. You should not pick against them until 3 or 4 years after the dynasty is ended, and you're still kind of not believing that it's ending, but it really has been over for a few years. That's when you start picking against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'll take them to win this division. I'm actually going to take a little bit of an upset here. I think a lot of people are going to choose this team to not do much. I'm taking the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos to finish number 2. Well, I have a feeling that Sean Payton's going to find a way to have this team competing. I mean, they were competing last year, and he was practically throwing Russell Wilson out the window, who's now the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers and has a Super Bowl under his belt, 2 Super Bowl appearances. And they were fighting for a postseason spot. So I do think the Broncos could figure something out there. I don't believe they're going to be good enough to win this division, no. But I do think that things are trending in the right direction for this team. And you could think whatever you want about the head coach, but at the end of the day, he finds a way to win. And by the way, I've always been on the Bo Nix bandwagon, who is the starting quarterback for this team, the rookie out of Oregon. We've talked about Bo Nix before. We talked about him around the draft and the resilience that he had with the Auburn situation. So I'm going to go with the Broncos finishing second in this division. Will Harbaugh make it work for the Chargers? We'll find out. I'm not as high on this as a lot of other people are. I think there's a lot to be done there. Do I think Justin Herbert's a really good quarterback? Yeah, but historically, the Chargers have not been good enough, okay? It's almost like the Jets here with me. Like, it's hard for me to believe that they're going to be really good when they've just proven to me that every year that I thought that they were going to be really good, something goes on that is just the opposite of really good. That's the feel that the Chargers give me. So even though there's a good quarterback there, and we all believe there's a good head coach there, I don't know if we can put all that together to me believing in the Chargers competing in this division. So I have them finishing third. And then the Raiders just don't have a quarterback. And I've been big on this. You can have defense, you can have running back, you can have good linemen and be really, really good. But if you don't have a lot of those things and you don't have a quarterback, you are just going to be bad. And I think that's what the Raiders will be. I could be completely off there. I think Antonio Pierce will do a great job, but until you get that under center and line situation on both sides figured out, then you're going to have to say to yourself, I don't know how good this team can be. For the lines on these teams, they have the Chiefs at minus 270. Okay. They have the Broncos at plus 2,000. That's right. The Broncos plus 2,000. They have the Chargers at plus 390. And they have the Raiders at plus 1,000. So for both the NFC West and the AFC West, okay, there's a slight difference in the picking. All right. For the AFC West, the betting odds have it finishing Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos. And for the West, it's Niners, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks. So that's actually the exact same way that I picked it as well. So just the West is slightly different. So you choose what you'd like to choose there. I'm choosing the Broncos if I'm picking a not the Chiefs team. I'm serious. I'm high on this. Bo Nix, Sean Payton combination. I'm high on it in Mile High. So if you had to tell me I couldn't pick either of the two Super Bowl teams from last year to win their division, no 49ers, no Chiefs, and I had to put some bananas down, I'm putting it down on the Broncos in the AFC West, and I'm putting it down on the Rams in the NFC West. ESPN did a simulation on this, and they essentially, what they tried to do was pick based on, I don't know how they calculate it per se, but they wanted to pick all of the winners of the divisions, who could possibly win the Super Bowl, all of the things. And we're going to break that down because I found it interesting. For the most part, I think you could kind of guess what was picked in terms of teams to win certain divisions. FPI simulation, that's what it's called. Football Power Index. So essentially how they predict each team. So here's how they have it finishing up. For the AFC West, they have the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders. And for the and for the NFC West, they have the Niners, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. According to the calculations on ESPN, these two divisions will be the tightest two divisions in terms of records and possibility of change from top to bottom. And to take that a step further, the NFC West, again, this is just according to Football Power Index on ESPN, which essentially means they have a lot of analytics pumping some numbers to see what they could possibly predict will happen this year. The NFC West winner will have 10 wins, and the last placed team will have 7. The tightest breakdown between top team and bottom team. So very interesting to see what the computers are saying are going to happen in these two divisions. That's what Andrew thinks is going to happen in these two divisions. Put your bananas where it's smart. Do not make decisions that you do not have backing on. I must tell you that. When we get back from a commercial break, we're going to talk about what we believe it takes to be a most valuable player, what criteria you must hit. And then we're going to break down just a quick hair on Major League Baseball so we can keeping the people posted, and then some daily bananas. You know the deal here. The Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com, Dingo TV, channel 217. Back after this commercial break.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Show here at 12ouncesports.com. Dingo TV channel 217. Yeah, if you missed any of the show, replay it. Dingo TV channel 217 at noon. Or the podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Andrew Romanella here with you. Another 8 minutes and change. We got a few things to cover. We're going to do that as soon as we tell you the Rome Show on all of the social media platform. All right. Here's the deal. We asked a question. We'd like to know your thoughts. What criteria must you hit to be named a most valuable player? I think this is a pretty simple conversation. Okay. The first thing is, I think your team needs to be relevant. All right. Now, I do understand there are an insane amount of seasons that have existed or can exist where a player is so good that it's like we kind of have to give him something because he's so good. But that, unfortunately, is not the case. At least I think when it comes to this award. You're talking about the most valuable player of a league. So therefore, something that he does or she has to be so valuable that it is so important that the whole league also thinks they are the most valuable player. So somehow, some way, that player has to be affecting winning on that team. And I feel like that makes plenty of sense. It seems simple to me. And I understand in team sports that becomes convoluted and it's difficult. But unfortunately, that is the unfairness that comes with playing a team sport. If you don't like that, just go out and play an individual sport and dominate, be Tiger Woods, and then there's no conversation whatsoever. So that's the first thing. I do believe your team needs to be in contention. A few people have written in saying that they agree with that. Have not really had anyone go against that, so let us know your thoughts on that. The second thing is I believe you have to be leading in a certain amount of categories. Now, I say a certain amount because I can't define in each sport what puts you in the area of greatness in a given season. I can just talk to you about my sport. So let's take baseball, for example, the Triple Crown revered, okay? Aaron Judge working towards being that leader in home runs, RBIs, batting average, okay? Impressive stuff, all right? If you are leading in categories like that, the major categories, hits, doubles, triples, stolen bases, OPS, those things matter to baseball people. Let's say you take 10, those 8, I think it's listed 8 categories, and you're leading in 4 of them, top 5 in all 8. Yeah. Elite level season, your team's in the postseason, or at least competing for the postseason till the end. Okay, I think you are somebody that is weary or should be considered, I should say, better terminology, better vocabulary there, as an MVP candidate. I think those two things do matter. And no, I don't think you have to make the postseason to be the most valuable player, but you have to be in contention, because my belief would be you're in contention even if you don't make it because you're that good of a player. So I think those two things come into play. You got to be leading categories in terms of statistics when it comes to the important statistics in your sport, and your team, if you're in a team sport, must be competing at least the entirety of the year for a postseason berth and be relevant to the conversation of the postseason. Let us know your thoughts. The Rome Show on any of the social media sites on what criteria you think need to hit to be a most valuable player. We got some players trying to be most valuable players in Major League Baseball right now and get their team in the postseason. The New York Mets are doing just that right now. They won their 6th straight game last night, defeating the Boston Red Sox 7-2. Francisco Lindor continued his tear, hit his 30th home run of the season, had a huge double for the team. Pete Alonso went yard as well. The Mets are playing very, very good baseball at the exact right time. The Braves won as well, so they stay a half game back, but putting a lot of pressure on not just the Braves now, but also the Padres and the Diamondbacks. So interesting to see there. The New York Yankees, they defeated the Rangers. We did not get an Aaron Judge homer, and unfortunately, bananas. We lost our streak right there. But nonetheless, they're competing and they have the best record in the in the American League right now. They are pretty much tied with the Orioles, though, who are streaking 3 straight and 6 of their last 10. It is time in Major League Baseball for the race to heat up. I'm excited. Those 2 New York teams, though, if you would have talked about them in April or even early May, you would have really been talking about the Yankees probably being good, and then the Mets being atrocious. If you would have gone to June, you would have been like, okay, maybe the Mets are probably going to be not that good, and the Yankees are also trending in not that good direction. Now, you have 2 really exciting teams to talk about deep into the Major League Baseball season, something that hasn't been that much fun for New York baseball fans in the past few years. So that's exciting, and we'll see what happens in this month of September. We know what's going to happen right now on the Rome Show. It's quite possibly my favorite segment of the day. That would be considered your Daily Bananas. All right. I alluded to it before. Aaron Judge, I thought he was going to get off the homer list streak. He did not. This homerless streak goes to 7 games. Aaron Judge gets us an X on the board. We go 0 for 1 there, but we did take the Cleveland Guardians to defeat the Royals and keep pushing the Royals more into the dirt. They did that. The Royals lose their 7th straight, and the Guardians continue to streak. With that being said, we're going to make some picks for tomorrow. We're going to take the Braves over the Rockies, and we're going to continue to ride the Cleveland Guardians streak. Those are both going to be money lines. And then we are going to take Aaron Judge with a hit. I do think he's going to keep hitting for his 300 average, but I do not believe, I'm starting to think maybe some pressure got to him. I have no idea with the home run thing. Who knows? I'm not Aaron. I couldn't speak for him, but I do think at the end of the day, he's a hitter and he's going to keep hitting. And then let's keep riding the Guardian streak. You know, I love a good streak. And I think like the Tigers, we're going to take it until it proves not to work. So Braves, Guardians, Aaron Judge hit. Call that the Rome Show on Wednesday. Listen, we'll be back Thursday, 7 a.m., as we always are. Start of the National Football League. We have more divisions to break down. So much to do. I am Andrew Romanella. Have a great day. And remember to be electric. Peace!
Thank you for listening.